gonna be some stuff you gonna see that's gonna make it hard to smile in the future. And God said he should send his one begotten son to lead the wild into the ways. Follow me. Eat my flesh, flesh of my flesh. Come with me. Still after me, I'm in Jamaica sipping daiquiris. No doubt. I heard rumor died, murdered in cold blood, traumatized. Pictures of me in my final stage, you know mama cried. But that was fiction, so cattle got destroyed and twisted. Like I no longer existed, mysteriously missing. Expect me, nigga, like you expect Jesus to come back. Expect me, nigga, I'm coming. I'm so lost. I don't know what you did, but you gave it all to the confession.
It's been 27 years since the so-called death of the manufactured rap character Tupac Shakur. Although many of the masses lack common sense, they believe that this dog and pony show is real. They could never be more fooled, but will simplify things as much as possible. Ask yourself, why would the Shakur family ever want the case of Tupac murder solved? Especially when they have made the most money possible, selling the mystery of his stage death in Vegas. For years, fans have even tried to solve his case themselves, piecing together clues that Pac left in his music. Since the death of Tupac, hundreds of documentaries have been released. Films of those close to Tupac, speaking of him as a mythical god, as well as documentaries of cops doing detective work attempting to solve the case. Entertainer's death is very profitable. So again, one must ask, wouldn't solving Pac's murder put to rest most of the conspiracies and money made selling the mystery of who could have killed Pac? The unknown has made Pac and Biggie millions of dollars for years, and so you ask again, why would the Shakurs want to solve this murder after 27 years? Let me explain. The Tupac estate has made a fortune lying to the public of the Tupac death hoax, but it's simple. The New World Order. In the New World Order, many of the elite's lies and secrets such as Tupac's death hoax will be revealed by the elites themselves. Keefe D, who supposedly played a role in the death of Tupac alongside his nephew Orlando Anderson. Supposedly, Keefe D has now confessed to playing a role in the murder, although he's not saying anything different from what he has stated for the last 27 years. Keefe D has always stated that his nephew, Orlando Anderson, was the shooter. So what is there to confess? The entertainment news media and interviewer Vlad TV, whose show is intentionally set up like an interrogation-style interview. Vlad is always accused of working with the feds. He is now taking credit for solving the murder of Tupac Shakur. However, many people are criticizing and discrediting Vlad. stating that cops have had evidence and have known secret information about the case for years. But here's where people got it wrong, because Vlad actually did solve the case, and do you want to know how? It's very simple. Vlad proved that nobody killed Tupac.
Do you have any idea who shot Shug?
I'm pretty sure Shug knows who shot Shug.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So when he comes out of sedation, I'm sure anybody who gets shot will tell you who shot them, right?
yeah.
But if the police say nobody shot him, I believe nobody shot him. And if nobody shot him, that's the same nobody that shot Tupac. Nobody that shot Tupac.
Nobody that shot Tupac.
The cold case that no one ever expected to be solved is, of course, a huge step closer to being solved. The arrest in the Tupac Shakur murder 27 years later really shocked everyone last week, and we still have questions about why now. We still have questions about why now.
We still have questions about why now.
The man who is now charged with the murder confessed in 2008 that he was involved and has been saying it very openly in interviews that he handed the gun to a guy named Orlando Anderson, his nephew. Everyone was wondering what Shug's reaction is to there finally being an arrest in this case. Tell me what your reaction is to the arrest of Keefe D.
Well, surprise number one, because I didn't think Keefe D would never get arrested. Nor do I want to see him get arrested. You know, let's get one thing straight, first and foremost. You know, me and Keefe D played on the same Pop Warner football team. Me and Keefe D played on the same Pop Warner football team.
Me and Keefe D played on the same Pop Warner football team.
The DA says that Keefe D was in the car with his nephew, and that presumably his nephew, according to the DA, is the one that shot Tupac, and that it was done with the full knowledge of Keefe. Do they have it right?
There was only two people in the car. And Pac not gonna tell the story. I ain't gonna tell the story, but I tell you this. And I never had nothing bad to say about Orlando, because number one, he wasn't the shooter. Number one, he wasn't the shooter.
Number one, he wasn't the shooter.
Number two, he came to my hearing and told to let me go and tell the truth. They still didn't let me go.
They seem to be saying that Orlando was the shooter and Keefe was in on it, that he had full knowledge of what was going down, and it was revenge for Orlando getting beaten up by Tupac and his team at the MGM after the Tyson fight. Is that correct?
No.
Then who shot Tupac?
It wasn't Anderson, so that's all I got to say about that. It wasn't Anderson, so that's all I got to say about that.
It wasn't Anderson, so that's all I got to say about that.
1,000%. I wouldn't go, I wouldn't testify, none of that. At the end of the day, free Keefe D.
Vlad further proved that Tupac wasn't dead to begin with, and that's the joke. The former Disney star Orlando Brown, who shares the same name as the alleged killer of Tupac, stated that Keefe D is actually Pac.
Keefe D. The cops raided his house, and right now they have a grand jury going, and he's probably going to be arrested for his part of the murder of Tupac.
He is Tupac.
Okay.
Can't arrest him if he's the man that died. Can't arrest him if he's the man that died. What the? Look at that man! Look at him! It's Tupac!
So what happens if they arrest him? Do you think he's gonna beat the case?
They're not gonna arrest him. I just said he's Tupac. If they arrest him, they have to put him in Tupac's body.
But both Faison Love and Vlad TV dismissed Orlando's claims and said he was once a kid on the right track. But if his claims were so absurd, then why even address them in the first place? Many people believe that the rapper Akil the MC is Tupac, but my theory is the elites are pointing you in the wrong direction as a distraction. So no, Akil the MC is not Tupac. Most people will take what Orlando Brown stated on the surface and take what he stated literal, simply because Keefe D doesn't look like Pac, nor share no resemblance to him whatsoever. It means he's not Tupac, but what Orlando Brown is truly saying is that Keefe D is actually Tupac disguised and is wearing a mask.
A Compton topic that's been really big lately is Keefe D.
Okay.
Has been arrested for the murder of Tupac.
That nigga. I'm a Tupac supporter, nigga. Feel me? I'm death row at heart, nigga. That nigga. I don't even got nothing to say about him, nigga. He getting what he deserved, nigga. Call me what you want, nigga.
One of the funniest takes about the shit is I interviewed Orlando Brown.
What'd he say about it? That Tupac was... I know you're gonna say that.
He said you can't arrest Keefe D for Tupac's murder because he is Tupac.
That's funny, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
You feel me? But look, I'm gonna tell you what's the funniest part about it. Even though we know he just... Orlando Brown crazy. When he said that, right? I went and put a picture of Keefe D up to Tupac, nigga, and fell the fuck out. Cause this dude look like Tupac with plastic surgery. This dude look like Tupac with plastic surgery.
This dude look like Tupac with plastic surgery.
My theory is that the elites over the years would push post and sightings of Tupac lookalikes up the algorithms, simply to hint that Tupac was still alive, and that they've always had Tupac in hiding for years. Mysteriously, Keefe D's birthday is June 14th. 2 days before Tupac's birthday, they are both 8 years apart. If you add the number 8 to the year of Tupac's death, you get the year 2004, which was the release of Tupac's album Loyal to the Game, and also that year it was said to be one of the most convincing Tupac sightings, where Tupac was spotted seemingly having a conversation with Shug Knight and his rap group The Outlaws. But many theories said the FBI killed Pac, or that Shug killed Pac, Diddy had him killed, etc. But it was all misdirection to cover up the hoax. Tupac's alleged killer Keefe D, real name is Dwayne Keith Davis, in Tupac's film Above the Rim. Tupac casted alongside an actor who shares the same name as the actor Keefe D, and that is Dwayne Martin. But before we go more in-depth about the actor Dwayne Martin, let's take a deeper look into the background of Keefe D. Keefe D was a South Side Crip, and what's funny is that it's said that the Crips were offshoots to the Black Panthers, who Tupac's parents were once members of. But it's also said that Keefe D was the childhood friend of rapper Eazy-E. What's weird about Keefe D's connection to Eazy-E is that Shug Knight was the founder of Death Row Records, who Pac was signed to. Shug and Eazy-E had an altercation when Shug bullied Eazy to let Dr. Dre out of his contract, and early after Eazy's death, which Eazy-E's birthday is the exact same day Tupac was shot in Vegas. Eazy's death date is 20 days after Biggie's death date, but supposedly, Eazy died from AIDS. Eazy died 1 year before Tupac. Shug Knight in an interview told a joke about Eazy-E being injected with AIDS. 1 year later on Eazy's birthday, Tupac died. What a coincidence that Eazy-E childhood friend was the uncle of the man who played the role in Tupac getting killed. But on October 11th, 2011, former LAPD detective Greg Kading, a former investigator in the murder of Christopher Biggie Smalls Wallace, released a book alleging that Sean Puffy Combs commissioned Dwayne Keefe D to kill Tupac as well as Shug Knight for $1 million. On July 2nd, 2018, Davis supposedly confessed to having a role in the killing of Tupac and confirmed that he was in fact in the passenger seat after revealing that he had cancer. Keefe D refused to name other suspects in the shooting but confirmed that his nephew Orlando Anderson was the shooter and that it was retaliation for Orlando getting jumped at the MGM Grand. Keefe D in 2023. Keefe D would then be arrested at a home that his wife owned in Henderson, Nevada. The city Henderson just so happens to sit a few miles southeast of the Las Vegas Strip, where Tupac was allegedly shot. And how ironic is it that Keefe D, who Orlando Brown stated really is Tupac, was arrested at his home that isn't far from where him and his nephew killed Tupac. But it's also said that Henderson, Nevada, once hosted Shakespeare in the Park, which was celebrated in its 10th year in 1996. And eerily enough, Tupac, who once attended performance arts school, was an avid reader of Shakespeare plays, and he was one of Tupac's favorite writers. And the Shakespeare in the Park was back in 1996, the same year Tupac supposedly died, but the plot of Tupac's death seemed all too similar to parts of the plot of the film Above the Rim, starring Tupac, which was released back in 1994. Dwayne Martin, who shares the same name as Dwayne Keefe D in the film Above the Rim. Dwayne was a basketball player whose character name was Kyle, had to decide whether he was going to play basketball for Coach Mike Rollins or Bertie, a local drug dealer in the neighborhood. But let's fast forward towards the end of the film Above the Rim, which seemed to somewhat mirror how Tupac's death unfolded, but with character changes and plot twist. Bertie, who was a boss and a bully, and famously smoked cigars like Shug Knight. Bertie ordered Mota, who was Bertie's teenaged lieutenant, to kill Kyle after Kyle and his team defeated Bertie's team. However, Shep, who was Bertie's older brother, jumps in front of the bullet to save Kyle. Shep and Bertie always had beef, similar to how Pac had beef with his brother Big, and Pac also had beef with Puffy and the entire Bad Boy record label. Puffy always had an ego and loved being the center of attention, which sounds very much similar to the character David Ruffin in the film The Temptations, played by actor Leon Robinson, who played the role Shep in Above the Rim. Ironically, Tupac once had a song titled Temptations, which was featured on Tupac's solo project, Me Against the World, which was released a year after the film Above the Rim. But back to the film Above the Rim. The cops would then kill Mota for attempting to kill Kyle and shooting Shep. Later on in the film, Boogaloo, played by actor Marlon Wayans, would get retaliation for Kyle and him getting clowned and humiliated by Bertie. Boogaloo would kill Birdie. But let's rewind and start over, and show how Tupac's murder aligns with the above the rim script. Birdie, the bully, who smokes cigars, is playing the role of Shug Knight. Birdie ordered the hit on Kyle after Kyle's team won the basketball game and tried to leave Birdie. However, Birdie wouldn't just let him go, similar to what it was rumored about Tupac, who was trying to get from out of his contract with Death Row. And it was rumored that Shug set Pac up for trying to leave, but Mota, played by actor Wood Harris, shoots at Kyle, played by Dwayne Wood Harris, similar to Orlando Anderson, and like Wood Harris is playing the role of Orlando Anderson. Orlando Anderson was 23 years old when he died. Mota wore the jersey number 23 in the film Above the Rim. As Mota shot at Kyle, Shep jumped in front of the bullet, as it was said that Shug Knight tried to do. As his BMW was shot up on the Vegas Strip, Shug allegedly tried to protect Pac, but was shot in the process just like Shep, but Mota was killed, like Orlando Anderson. Towards the end of the film, Above the Rim, Bugaloo, played by actor Marlon Wayans, kills Birdie and gets his revenge after being humiliated, similar to how Orlando Anderson got his revenge on Tupac for beating him up and humiliating him at the MGM Grand Casino. But what's also eerie is that Marlon Wayans stated that he was with Tupac the night that he was killed and was hanging with Pac 30 minutes prior to his death. And ironically, Marlon also stated that he was hanging out with Biggie at a club for the Vibe Awards party before Biggie's death as well. Don't be surprised if actor Marlon Wayans actually gets arrested for the murder of Tupac Shakur. The Elites famously use plot twist on screen, which tells the story of what's to come in the character's script of their life off screen. But on screen, the Elites flip the script, if you will, so that it never seemed obvious. Tupac's movies subliminally told the story of his life. But now, it all makes sense. Why all of a sudden, this Tupac news comes out of nowhere. The Elites famously do things in reverse. Tupac's birthday just passed back in June. He would have been 52 years old. He was 25 years old when he passed, and 25 reversed is 52. 7 is the number of completion. 5 plus 2 equals 7. Pac died in 1996. 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 6 equals 25. We are currently in the year 2023. If you reverse the number 23 in 2023, you get 32. If you subtract 32 from 2023, it's 1991, which was Tupac's official introduction to the rap game, featured on Digital Underground's Same Song, and the release of his debut album, Tupacalypse Now. Tupac entered the game at 20 years old. 5 years later, he dies on the cross, like Jesus. On his Machiavelli album, he exited at age 25, and like Christ, he shall resurrect at age 52, which is 25 reversed, and 7 is the number of completion. Pac will resurrect, like he did in the Scarface Smile video. Many people ask, what reason would Pac come back for? It's simple. Tupac does not control his career. He was a character, a puppet, actor following a script. And since the elites are letting the cat out of the bag and revealing it was all a hoax, why would they need to keep him in hiding if that were the case? They wouldn't try to solve his murder and keep his death a mystery to keep making millions, but we are entering a new world order. Stuff that we will see that will make it hard to smile in the future. As Pac said, a cashless society, the computer chips, as Pac once said. Also, another eerie connection to the actor Wood Harris starred in the popular TV crime drama series The Wire as a character by the name Avon Barksdale. Avon was a big-time drug kingpin, like Birdie from Above the Rim. In the earlier episodes of The Wire series, Avon sported a black bandana like Birdie. Avon developed a rivalry with a gay neighborhood stick-up thug by the name of Omar Little, who had a scar on his face like Birdie as well. The character Omar was played by actor Michael K. Williams, who was said to have been discovered by Tupac himself.
Let's talk about Tupac, dude, because that's crazy. I want to start at the beginning for you.
No doubt. You know, well, I don't know if you know, but I started out as a background dancer. This office that Bullet was being worked out of, Tupac had seen a Polaroid of me, and he just, I don't know what, but he was able to see that I had the scar on my face and what have you, and he was like, yo, go find this dude. He looks thugged out enough to play my little brother in Bullet. And I got the call, I came in, I auditioned for it, and next thing I know, I got the movie.
How'd you get the scar? I got the scar on my 25th birthday. I was highly intoxicated, as we call it, the liquid courage, one too many. And I entertained a conversation that I normally in my right mind would have ignored, and I got jumped. Almost died.
Was it a glass?
No, he spit a razor in prison. You know, people know how to hide razors either in their mouth or in their rectum. You know, like I know people who can have a conversation right now with you with a razor in their mouth and you would never know it, and you could. There's a movie Above the Rim that the late great Tupac Shakur, he does that and he kind of like plays with it with his tongue and kind of, you know, from his mouth into his fingers, and that's pretty much what happened. It's called spitting razors, and he held it between his fingers here and
cut you.
Yeah, I thought he was smacking me.
Eerily, Michael K. Williams, who was initially born in New York City like Tupac. They both attended the School of Arts. Michael K. Williams was also a backup dancer like Tupac as well. Michael K. Williams starred in the popular television series The Wire, which was based out of Baltimore, Maryland, and ironically, the city Baltimore is where the rapper and actor Tupac Shakur was raised at. Tupac supposedly discovered Michael K. Williams to get his big break by playing his little brother in the film Bullet. Tupac played a character by the name Tank in the film Bullet, who was a local drug kingpin just like Birdie from the film Above the Rim. But just like in the film Gridlocked, Michael K. Williams was a drug addict junkie and supposedly died due to an overdose. But back to the TV series The Wire, just like the character Omar was a gay thug. That was the industry's secret rumored about Tupac, which was that Tupac was gay, who adopted the thug life persona. Michael K. Williams supposedly died on September 6, which so happened to be one day before Tupac was supposedly shot in Las Vegas, Nevada. My theory is that the character Tupac Shakur was written to be viewed in the same light as Jesus Christ, anointed as hip-hop's God and Savior, who culture worships. Tupac was sold as a thug revolutionary who led the way for the black community. The programming began when his career first started and he entered the rap game. His ties to the Black Panther movement and background led blacks to think he is one of them and is down for the cause, but he is not. The conscious music that Tupac created was created so that the listener would build an emotional connection and attachment to him, which then sets the stage for his return, that he is far from the hero he sold himself of being.
The glass cage. He's gay, isn't he? Yep. And I was his biggest fan. That make me gay, don't it? Yep. Things you're saying.
But on the show, The Wire, the Avon and Omar rivalry sparked when Omar and his crew robbed the Barksdale stash house. Barksdale crew got retaliation once they got wind of Omar's boyfriend being at a local bar. Omar's boyfriend Brandon was then tortured and killed by Barksdale crew. As Omar would seek revenge, one of Avon's top enforcers was a character by the name Bird, whose name was Bird like Birdie from Above the Rim. Bird was played by actor Fredro Starr, who was a bald-headed rapper just like Tupac, and was asked to sign with Death Row as well. But part of Omar's revenge on Avon was getting on the witness stand and testifying against Bird for supposedly killing a security officer by the name of William Gant. Funny enough, Shep, who was Pac's brother, was a security officer in the film Above the Rim, and he was shot by Mota, played by actor Wood Harris. Omar even once tried to kill Avon coming out a club, similar to how Pac was killed, coming outside a club in the I Ain't Mad at Ya music video, and how Biggie was murdered leaving the club as well, similar to Birdie. Avon Barksdale had his own basketball team as well. Avon Barksdale, who was from the west side of Baltimore. The west side, like Tupac claimed the west side of California, Avon didn't care for a big guy from the east side by the name Proposition Joe, who was big like Biggie. But another weird connection to the actor, Wood Harris, is many people saying that the rapper Tyler the Creator is Wood Harris's clone, and Tyler the Creator is said to be gay. Jaden Smith, who's the son of Will Smith, and his wife Jada Pinkett. Jada Pinkett was connected to Tupac, who co-starred with Wood Harris. Jaden stated that Tyler the Creator was his boyfriend. Tupac's life was a movie filled with riddles of other characters. Parts of Tupac's background was taken from other mythical-like characters. Tupac was actually named after two Pacs, which is why the elites gave him the name Tupac. There was Tupac Amaru and Tupac Amaru II. Both of the two Pacs were revolutionary rebellions, which is why Tupac's character was designed to be a rebellion for the blacks. But Pac was killed by the Spanish, and Tupac, the rapper, was more than likely Spanish as well, which is why in a low-budget film that the director stated Tupac's mom, Afeni Shakur, approved of, in which the plot of the film was about how Tupac faked his death and fled to Mexico. The lead character, who starred as Tupac in the film, was actually Mexican, which now makes sense. Why in the I wonder if heaven got a ghetto video, Tupac, who was supposedly dead. The date of the video was after the day Tupac was pronounced dead, as he would arrive in Mexico. Moving right along, then there was the famous story of the manufactured rap legend Tupac Shakur, which his death was nothing more than pure theater. But just recently, there was a report that new details of information into the case in the murder of Tupac, where a man named Keefe D, whose nephew Orlando Anderson, was said to be the one who had actually killed Tupac, but Keefe D was allegedly involved in the murder, and his home was just recently raided by the FBI. Bullets were found in the home as Keefe D held on to them for years like they were souvenirs. To one of the more recent riddles is when a 26-year-old homeless woman, who mysteriously shares the same name as Tupac Shakur, she was arrested for beating a man with a baseball bat. This riddle goes much deeper down the Tupac rabbit hole. The elites recreate moments simply to mock the masses, because they know they forget. But Tupac was actually once charged back in 1993, which would have made 29 years ago. But this almost instantly made me think about the Tupac Toss It Up video, where he was seen holding a baseball bat and would then smash the mirror with the bat. The Tupac Toss It Up music video was filmed on the evening of September 6, 1996, which so happened to be a day before the infamous Tupac Vegas shooting. Ironically, on the same day 26 years later, the lady who has the same name as Tupac was charged for attacking a man with a baseball bat. The number 7 is said to symbolize the number of completion. Tupac was 25 years old when he died. 2 plus 5 equals 7. If you add up each number in the year 1996, it equals 25, and 2 plus 5 equals 7. The lady was 34, and 3 plus 4 is 7. But this is where we dig deeper into this creepy, wicked rabbit hole. The light-skinned homeless woman had me wrecking my brain thinking, what light-skinned woman comes to mind when I see her face? And then it all made sense. Baseball bat, toss it up music video. Lisa Ray. But I know what you are thinking, and yes, you are correct. This woman looks nothing like the Lisa Ray that we all know, but she does share resemblance to another Lisa Ray, who was also a Canadian actress and appeared in 90s films. She mysteriously made her first acting debut in 1996, the same year Tupac was allegedly murdered. The Canadian actress Lisa Ray was born 1 year after Tupac was born. The light-skinned Lisa Ray was born September 23rd, which so happens to be 10 days after Tupac was murdered. The Canadian Lisa Ray made her Indian industry film debut in the Hindi movie called Kazor. The plot of the film is about a woman named Preeti, who was the wife of a man by the name of Shakur. Get it? Like Tupac Shakur, but a wealthy, well-known journalist becomes an inspector and investigates the case. He accuses Shakur of the murder and says he has strong evidence to have Shakur arrested. But doesn't that sound similar to the Tupac case? Having all the evidence, but the murderer was never convicted. That sounds very much like Tupac's alleged killer, Orlando Anderson, who actually looks like Tupac. But speaking of Tupac's murder and the night of the shooting, it's said that the shooting occurred at 11:15 The homeless lady named Tupac attacked the man at 11:30. The lady was then taken to Turner Knight Correctional Center. Oddly enough, Tupac was supposed to play Tyrant Turner role in the movie Menace to Society, where he stomps out the guy like what Pac did to Orlando Anderson. But back to Tupac, and him dying at the age 25, like Orlando Anderson in 1995. A year before Tupac passed, there was a former NBA player by the name of Nick Anderson, who was born in Chicago and played for the Orlando Magic. Nick Anderson wore the jersey number 25. Anderson was famously known for his steal in the 1995 Eastern Conference playoffs against Michael Jordan, who played for the Chicago Bulls where Anderson was from. But there's an eerie correlation with the word steal in connection to the both bald-headed so-called GOATs, Tupac and Michael Jordan. Anderson was known for his steal against Jordan, and it's said the incident between Tupac and Orlando Anderson stemmed from a 1996 incident at Lakewood Mall that involved Anderson and his Crip gang members, which resulted in someone stealing a member of Death Row's medallion. Coincidentally, Anderson was spotted in the MGM casino, and someone told Tupac that Anderson was responsible for stealing the chains. Get it? Stealing. Michael Jordan, who returned to the game of basketball after his father was allegedly killed for gambling. He wore the jersey number 45, as Anderson would take shots at MJ for not being the same great player as number 23 Jordan. MJ would then change back to his original number 23. However, the Bulls still would lose to the Magic, but would get their revenge in the 1996 Conference Finals to advance to the NBA Finals. But Anderson's first name is Nick, and Nick rhymes with Crip. Like Orlando, Anderson was a Crip, and Crips were blue. In Freemasonry, the red often goes against the blue, just like politics as well. But the Magic, who wear blue, went up against the Bulls, who wear the color red. And remember, Shug Knight and the MOB Blood members beat up a Crip in Orlando Anderson. But speaking of Magic versus the Bulls, Tupac would attend his very last NBA game on February 2nd, 1996, months before his death. Do you know what team he went to go see? The Lakers versus the Bulls. Magic versus Jordan. Magic like Orlando Magic. But speaking of Bulls, what are Bulls commonly known for when they are on the attack? They rush at you, just as Tupac did to Orlando Anderson. But speaking of Mike, Tupac's last night in Vegas was seeing the Mike Tyson fight in Paradise, Nevada. But in 1998, which is the same exact year MJ would retire from the game of basketball, but Orlando Anderson would die at the age of 23, which so happens to be MJ's jersey number, and the following season would be Nick Anderson's final year as Orlando Magic as well. But many people often say how much Tupac and Orlando Anderson look alike, but no one ever questioned, could he be Tupac's clone? Which is why his name is Tupac. So who really died in the BMW? Was it Tupac or Lando? But Tupac stomped out Orlando Anderson and was riding alongside Shug Knight the night of his death. Get it? Tyrant Turner and Shug Knight, and the homeless lady named Tupac was taken to Turner Knight Correctional Center after delivering a vicious ass-kicking. The eerie thing about the connection of Tupac and Orlando Anderson is, other than the fact they look alike, But Orlando Anderson's birthday is August 13th, which so happened to be 1 month before Tupac dies on September 13th. And then Orlando Anderson died May 29th, which so happens to be 1 month before Tupac's birthday in June.